Hello, everybody in the Global Social Entrepreneurs Lab. If you're tuning in here or if you're tuning in elsewhere in Facebook land, because this video may be in a few different places online. And so hopefully if you found us, you're joining in and tuning in for our wonderful guests that we have today on the show. Just as a bit of background before I introduce them, the show started kind of early 2017, and it was really a way for us to create more opportunities for different change makers around the world or people interested in making change to connect and learn from each other and really hear from other people in the space who are doing really amazing things and get their perspective on life and impact and all that good stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and I want to introduce our wonderful guests today. And we have two people on the camera, so I'll be switching back and forth here so that you guys can hear me, but also see the lovely faces of our guests. So we have Jerome and Gelaine from Toronto, Canada, near, not really near, but in the global scope, near me, down our neck of the woods. And you guys are the co-founders of Cambio Market. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us.
We're so glad that you could be here today and share some of your insight with us because here, sorry guys, I'm not practiced at moving between the cameras. But we are really interested to hear your perspective because we haven't talked with anyone who has a product-based social enterprise. And I think it has some really unique things to think about and to learn from you guys about. So just to kick things off, I'd love to ask, what is your ideal day? And maybe we can spill the beans early and let everybody who's watching know that you guys are a couple, co-founders and partners in life. So I'd be very interested to hear how you've set up your ideal day as social entrepreneurs.
Sure. So we are still working from home. We're not at the point yet where we can get an office, so we're working out of our condo. So, I mean, typical ideal days, we wake up and there's already been maybe a few orders overnight for our e-commerce website. But typically in the morning, Gelaine is more focusing on creative things, blog posts, drafting, social media posts, those kind of things that just require kind of a morning vibe to it. And as the day goes, we, just typical work day, starting to answer emails, that kind of things. Once in a while, I mean, we're in a big city, social entrepreneurs as well, meet with people around Toronto. And as well, the afternoon is typically when we're doing packaging. So Gelaine is the one doing packaging, preparing the orders, sending it. So on ideal days, there's been a few of those. So there's that during the afternoon. And then I'm the one that would just walk to the post office and drop those packages. And then after that, during the evening, an ideal day, maybe there's some networking event, maybe there's a meetup because we organize a social enterprise meetup here in Toronto as well. So as well to meet people sometimes during the evening. And ideally, on an ideal day, we didn't finish work too late. But unfortunately, a lot of days are not ideal, and work days might continue until 7, 8 p.m. before we get to dinner and relaxing life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny, just in terms of how we organize our days, because I'm an early riser. So I try to get up before 7, and then I do my own thing. I try to go to the gym, and Jerome wakes up at 8 a.m. and just rolls out of bed, makes his coffee, and then he gets to work right away. Whereas for me, I have my own routine that I do before I actually start working. So it's interesting to see that side of each other too, in terms of how we actually get started.
Yeah, for sure, because you have to, I guess, accommodate both of your lifestyles or everybody has their primes of when they feel most productive, or when they want to do the creative work versus the busy work, or vice versa. And then just it makes it that much more complicated maybe because you guys live together and you're working in your home. So how do you set those boundaries and still get some time for yourself, but also do what you need to get done in the business, right? So
yeah, set those boundaries.
It's been a challenge, obviously. There's not too many boundaries, to be honest. Like at this point, it's, like when you work together and live together, like there's, any dinner, any coffee, even if you're not at home, like discussions about the business might come up. So yeah, there's not so much boundaries, but it's a type of work-life balance. In a way, is we choose work that we're passionate about and work that we really love. So for us, it's not so much a burden because, we still enjoy talking about it. There are stressful moments, but overall, like we chose a lifestyle that fits us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously you're doing the work because you're passionate about it and love it. So I can relate to that feeling. I think lots of people listening probably can, where it, maybe you're working more than might be ideal in terms of work-life balance, but it feels really fulfilling and it doesn't actually feel draining. And I guess if it's not draining or compromising any other areas of your life, then that's okay, right? So,
for sure.
So you guys touched on it a little bit, but now would be the time. I would love to hear more about Cambio Market itself and why you guys started it and how it all got started. Would love to hear that.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story, so I'll summarize it. Essentially, the two of us have always been involved in like the social enterprise space. We actually met while we were volunteering in school for a nonprofit student organization called ISIC, which is essentially a social enterprise in itself. So that's how the two of us met, and we were both really passionate about, this idea for that business could exist for a social mission. And so after we both finished university and were working for a few years, we still were looking for ways to get involved. So in 2012, we traveled to Philippines with my family for just a family vacation. I'm actually Filipino Filipino myself. And so we just went, just for like vacation time. And the two of us just fell in love with the Philippines. I just learned so much about my own culture and my own family and history. And we just, also realize that there's this really thriving environment of social enterprises in the Philippines, like really, really beautiful products, really innovative businesses that are going on that lots of people don't really know about and that don't really have a platform to be able to reach customers. So Jerome basically got the idea to start a website called Choose Social, which is kind of our pet project or passion project that still exists. And it's essentially just like an online resource directory for anyone who wants to learn about social enterprises in the Philippines. So we started that in like 2013, probably. And then we were just working on that on the side while we were working full time. And it was just something that was supposed like just a fun thing that we were doing. And then eventually people just started asking us questions about where they could find these products, like where could they buy them in North America. And there wasn't really a venue for that. So then that's kind of where we got this idea for the potential of a marketplace that featured Filipino socially responsible products. And around the same time, the two of us were also working corporate jobs. Like Jerome has a background in IT, working as a consultant. And I was working in human resources for like a financial institution in Toronto. And neither of us were like really happy at all. Like we were just really just unsatisfied with the work that we were doing on the day-to-day basis. And so Jerome basically just decided, he's like, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to figure things out. So he quit his job in 2015 in the summertime. And then I was like, I want to quit my job too. Like, I think the timing is right. So we both quit our jobs, and then we kind of didn't know what to work on or like what we would be doing. But the idea of this business and creating this marketplace for socially responsible products was always there in the back of our minds. So we were like, it's now or never. We always wanted to start a business and we wanted to do something together. And this opportunity is here. So might as well just do it and like try it out and see where it goes. So that's basically what we did. So in September, we created a website, opened up a Shopify account, and within a week, Cambio Market was launched. Yeah, and it's iterated a lot from what it was. We didn't really have like a set idea or goal about what it would become because we were just kind of experimenting. But yeah, now a year and a half later, here we are, and things are different. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. So it all just really started from like just a passion for social enterprise and travel.
Sounds like it was very organic. And filling a need, and asking or serving, what people were asking you about, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to ask related to that. I don't know if I should put myself on camera because I'm fuzzy. Anyways, it's kind of weird if I'm just talking at you guys from the ether, right? So, so it sounds like you took a really lean approach when you got started, and you only took a couple weeks to get your Shopify going and just put something out into the world and then iterate and improve from that and learn as you went. Can you speak a little bit about that? Because I think that's a piece that a lot of social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs everywhere struggle with when they're first getting started, of like this feeling like it all has to be perfect, and when am I ready to like really put it out there? And it sounds like you guys really took it from the opposite angle, which I think is wonderful. I think it's the best way to learn and to launch. So yeah, tell us more about that.
Like, it's not that we plan to have a lean approach. It's more like we were just trying. And I think it's just a way personally I approach a lot of things in life. I'm like, oh, let's just try it. Let's just do it and see what happens. I'm not so sure it's always the best way of doing things. Like when we look at what the website was on the first month or something, we're like, oh, we're coming from very far. And it wasn't, there's a lot of things we realized, like our brand was not entirely very cohesive. And like there was, very quickly we realized, oh, it's September, Christmas is coming, and we only have 2 partners on our website. It doesn't really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So like we were kind of rushed into adding lots of products, lots of brand on our website for Christmas, getting in a rush. But like in a way, getting rushed into things forced us to iterate very quickly and get things done very quickly. But at the same time, it made us make a lot of mistakes, a lot of, I would say, expensive mistakes as well when we're in a product-based business and we have to carry inventory and choose those brands. And I would say the most cohesive way we could have done it, but, we learned a lot from this, and like over now a year and a half later, I would say it did turn out good. But like, for example, just 3 months ago, around Christmas, around New Year's, we did our first year planning. It was our first time doing planning for the year. Because before that, we ran a full year without any type of planning. We only recently, in the fall, just started having weekly meetings. Before that, we didn't have weekly meetings to plan things. It was like...
It was disastrous. I don't know how we were running. Yeah. And like the first few products we had, it was like we had scrunchies and greeting cards. Like, so when people came to our website and you see only these 2 types of products, they'd be like, "This shop is really strange. Like, it just has 2 So yeah, so like when we think about it, we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's how we were when we started. Yeah, and I'm the sort of person too where I like things to be kind of perfect. Like you were saying, a lot of people struggle with this idea of putting something out there before it's perfect. And I'm definitely one of those people. Like for me, like Jerome is very lean and he's very much like experimental approach. And it's because of this approach that we've been able to take, create a business out of this website called Choose, which was just a passion project and a random thing that had no real purpose or direction in the long term. And so for that, like, I'm really thankful that we were able to take that approach and be able to learn from it and turn it into something. But it was a lot of struggle in terms of just, working on this business on a day-to-day basis and not really knowing where it's going and not really seeing results right away. Mm-hmm. Like it was a really challenging time. Like we probably went through a really big, I don't know, not a crisis, but like a really big kind of just like period of challenge, maybe in our first year, where we didn't know what we were doing and like why we were spending all this money. Yeah, so there's like pros and cons to both approaches. For us, it's been really good, but I wouldn't necessarily, like, I guess it just depends on you as an entrepreneur and like what your style is and what you're comfortable with. Yeah, we definitely learned a lot. Yeah.
So I have to ask related to that, would you do it differently if you were to start over, or would you do it the same?
Well, it's a weird question because Evan, like, you know, it was much harder than we thought. It's been a much harder journey than what we thought initially. Like, one reason we thought of going into e-commerce at first, we're like, oh, well, that's much easier than opening a shop. You just put a website and people start buying. And like, if we were to restart over, I'm not even sure, knowing how hard it was and how long it took us to get there, if we would even choose the same business model in a way, like knowing what we know right now, like, because it's been so challenging, I would say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, we're happy of where we are right now, but at the same time, the struggle is what made us reach what we are right now. So, like, I don't think we could have planned exactly the way we turned out to be. And there's a lot of things now that we know, like, we're just glad we're past the first year, because like, it's just so challenging. And, you know, just not just, well, money-wise, but just efforts. And like, e-commerce is much more challenging. And, you know, I was working as an e-commerce IT consultant. I thought I knew, like, I really thought I knew, but it's starting from scratch is not the same as, you know, when I was working with large companies that were established for 10 years. And it's a very crowded, like, market out there. There's a lot of people launching e-commerce website, and just getting attention. And it's just very, very challenging. Yeah.
I think I would do it the same way. Like, yeah, I really think the challenges really are what brought us to where we are right now. And yeah, like, I think we're still trying to figure things out, but like, I think where we are right now, like, we're really, really happy of where our business is going. And we really wouldn't have gotten here unless we went through all of that long, convoluted journey and process with lots of ups and downs. Like, I think it really made us a lot better as professionals and like founders, and also stronger in our relationship as well. So yeah, but it was hard.
Yeah, it's, you know, that idea of failing forward, where you go through those challenges and the struggles, but in the end, they bring you so much value. And so you don't really want to give up those learnings and that insight either. So yeah, it's a tough question. Yeah. I'm going to ask you guys another tough question, because these are the fun ones. Do you have some beliefs that you feel are really giving you strength or that extra edge as you founded and launched this initiative, and as you go forward? Like, do you feel like there's some ways of thinking or mindsets that you guys hold that have really contributed to your success, and that you feel are really important in how you run your business?
Like, it's linked with our philosophy behind our business. Cambio market. Cambio means change. And for us, it's about changing consumers' behavior. But for us, it comes back from every little action make a difference. You know, everything that you buy every day, like, if you choose to invest your money into a specific business instead of another one that doesn't act ethically or does not have good, you know, eco-friendly kind of practices. Like, for us, every little decision, every purchase, every dollar you spend make a difference. And that's our belief behind our business, but that's been our belief, like, even as a consumer, even before having this business. But I think it did help us with our business as well, because, you know, like, sometimes things were not going very well, and like, we were not making a lot of sales. And, you know, you start asking, are we making a difference for those artisans or those social enterprise across the world we're buying products from? Like, we felt we just buy a few, and like it didn't feel like we're for some of those businesses, we're not their strongest partner. And we felt like at some point discouraged, like, do we make a difference? Are we making a difference even if we're not selling a lot at the beginning? But this belief that every single purchase made a difference, I think, kept us going, being, yes, we might be small now, but the sums of all those people buying eventually will grow, and we'll be a bigger partner, and we'll be more important, and we'll have a bigger impact. And at the end of the day, even from our partners and the artisans we're working with, is every single purchase makes a difference. And even if we were very small, it kept us going. Like, it helped us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really so important when you're starting out, and it's hard if you're not getting that external motivation, right? You have to have something to keep you going from internally, or, I think sounds like that belief really helped. And like you said, now you are where you are. And I just have to point out, I wore one of my products that I purchased from you guys. This really cute necklace. And I've definitely bought greeting cards. In fact, I think I bought this necklace because I wanted to buy a Valentine's Day card for my fiance, and to hit the free shipping, I was like, I'll just buy more stuff.
Totally upsold.
So yeah. But I mean, it's really fun to think of it that way. Like, we're you guys making those small choices and supporting the artisans with the view that it can grow and it can scale. And then with every customer, every one little purchase brings some joy into their life, and a nice product or something they can gift to someone. And then I can see how it really gains momentum and continues. As a repeat customer, it did that for me. So there we go.
We appreciate your
Yeah, I love you guys. And I love that you're Canadian, because it seems like there's a lot of great initiatives around the world. And sometimes being connected globally, we don't feel like we can access them as easily when it comes to shipping products. So obviously the products are from all over the world anyways, but I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys one of our questions that came in from the group earlier, from Naomi. She has a two-part question for you guys, and I think we're going to get some really great insight from you on this. So the first part of the question is, what have been your biggest marketing or storytelling challenges? And related to that, if you want to roll it all together, what things have worked really well in gaining visibility and getting people connected to your story? So on one side, the challenges, but on the other side, what's worked well in terms of getting the word out there and spreading the word about what you guys are doing.
That's a really great question. Thanks, Naomi. So the first challenge in terms of the storytelling marketing aspect was really just getting people to understand what we do. So a lot of people, when they think about, like products that have a story or products that support artisans, they think about it as a charity or a nonprofit. And it's really, really challenging to explain that we're not a nonprofit. We're a business that just operates with ethical principles and that exists in order to fulfill the social mission. And when we first started, we kept using the term social enterprise to describe ourselves. And we realized really, really quickly that no one knows what that word means, especially in Canada, where the awareness is just really, really low in terms of social enterprise. So we quickly realized, like, you can't use those terms. Like, people don't understand that. And at the same time, we also didn't want to just say we're like Tom's, for example, where it's this one-for-one donation model, because that's not what we do either. We don't have a donation model. We work with our partners as business partners, where we purchase the products from them. And then as we scale, they're able to scale at the same time. So that's been challenging to be able to explain. And that's still kind of one of the things that story much more effectively. And so kind of early on, we were a shop for just socially responsible products in general. That's kind of how we branded ourselves. And then what we realized as the months went on, we realized that we really needed to focus and have like a more targeted type of story. So Jerome and I went through this really like intense kind of discussion maybe like last summer, to just really hone in on what aspects of our business we really were passionate about most. Because we didn't want to just be a general shop for all sorts of socially responsible products. We wanted to be something that actually, just had a more specific focus and target. And so we realized that, working with artisans and like alleviating poverty and addressing inequality, those were things that we're both really particularly passionate about. So we kind of rebranded essentially last summer, or in like August/September. And then we became a shop for thoughtful, responsible goods that empower artisans. And our tagline used to be handmade, fair trade, ethical, which we thought was a good tagline because then people could know right away what we did. But that didn't resonate with anyone. So we actually worked with a consultant, and he helped us come up with a new tagline, which captured what we do. So now, instead of our tagline being handmade, fair trade, ethical, now our tagline is empowerment is you. Because we realize what we're most passionate about is the people. So we're passionate about the artisans, empowering the artisans that make the products, helping the artisans to empower themselves, and then also empowering the consumers to make more socially responsible choices that align with their values and lifestyle. So essentially, like once we kind of honed in on that target and that aspect and that narrative of working with artisans directly and focusing on empowerment as something that is not just empowering for the artisan and the maker, but also empowering for the consumer, like that really just became so much stronger in terms of our brand. And yeah, it really helped people to understand much better what we do and how to explain who we are. And I guess in terms of gaining visibility.
So in terms of gaining visibility, like I wouldn't say there's a single thing like that, will fix all your issues. Like it's been a very gradual growth for us. Like it's a slow growth, but it's been a continuous growth. But our main focus is online. It's e-commerce. I would say one big thing we did that had a big impact was actually going into in-person events in Toronto. Start attending, having a booth, having little pop-up shops, going to flea markets, and just show a subset of our products and get in touch directly with Toronto consumers. That helped us to get a lot of feedbacks about what sells, what people think of the products, what the price is. Because what we realize is online is great, but you don't get a feedback loop. You don't know what people think when they don't buy. So at least being in person and selling to in-person people really helped us, and it gained us a lot of online following. It got us to meet new people and new consumers. So that was one thing, is just getting out there and not just do online has really helped us. The rest is gradual growth online. We've worked with bloggers, we've worked with Instagram influencers, just sending our products, explaining our story to those people, and getting blogs and like influencers to talk about our products and our story. That has been helpful. It's always hard to measure exactly what has helped specifically, but we've been doing giveaways, all been doing some Facebook ads, some Google ads. So it's online e-commerce there's just so many avenues of promoting your work, and it's kind of a sum of everything. I would say. Yeah.
I think what we quickly realized is like there's no secret formula. It's really like a concerted effort, and you really need to, like, if you're going to use marketing speak, it's like multi-channel marketing, and you need to use every single avenue that you can. So like we post in Reddit, we post in, where else we post? Like a lot of Facebook and social media, and like we just use whatever channel we can that's aligned with our brand. And like that kind of brings sales in, and that trickles people to our website. And we just we have like a little sales funnel that we go through. So we try to get people on our website. Once they leave the website, we actually have retargeting that happens afterwards. So at least they remember us. We have a newsletter that goes out regularly, like everything. So it's really like our jobs are like 80% marketing, and the rest is like operations. Yeah.
That's interesting you bring that up, the split of your time, because I think we were talking about this, I forget with who I was talking about this with, but with social entrepreneurs, we get so focused on the impact side, which is important. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And often that comes as the priority. But if we neglect the sales and marketing side of things, then we're not going to hit that impact. Oh yeah, this was related to, we did a new module this month inside Changemakers Association for our members about authentic selling. So we were talking about this idea of we can't discount those activities of marketing and selling, because that's exactly what's going to help us grow our impact on the end. And sometimes it's hard to flip those or acknowledge how important the sales and marketing and the communication piece is, and give it time and give it attention, because that's really what's going to help us create more impact. But it feels kind of backwards initially when you're just so passionate about the cause.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mindset shift too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Well, our time together went by so fast. I can't believe it's actually been half an hour already. I just wanted to mention that Naomi was listening in and said, thanks for answering her question. So that's wonderful. You guys had some really good insight to share related to visibility. So I'll just end with one last question to wrap us up. And that is kind of a fun question. If we're going to be thinking pie in the sky, lofty, idealistic, in an ideal world, if you had $1 million dropped at your door tomorrow, what would you do with it? If money was no longer kind of an issue in the equation, how would you move forward with your work or with other projects? Or would you just go to the Philippines for a year? What would you do?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, well, first we would get a proper office, because right now we're just at home and we have like a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's really tight with all our inventory here. Yeah, so we would get an office space. Something that we've actually been talking about is like just getting a team of people. So we would love to be able to like hire, and we'd love to hire locally in Philippines actually, have an actual point person or like a group of people that we can use as kind of people on the ground. Because one thing we learned so much being in Philippines is just the importance of presence, especially when you're creating a community from the ground up, working with artisans. Like, you need to be present. And so it's the same thing working with our partners, like our business partners in the Philippines. Like, we need to be there, we need to be responsive, and it helps so much to develop those relationships. So we'd love to have someone locally in Philippines who could help us just maintain those relationships, visit our artisans regularly, kind of do a much better and cohesive like impact reporting that we're not really able to do at this point. What else is there? Would we love to do? Helping to build up the supply chains of our partners, because a lot of them in Philippines are so grassroots, and they have so much potential to grow. But the thing is that in terms of being able to scale up their production, being able to do like wholesale orders and do all of that in like a really timely basis, it's still a challenge for a lot of our partners. And we've been talking about how we can scale up as well, as like being able to meet or being able to go into like the business to business side of things. So like being able to invest some of that money into our partners to help scale up their production as well would be amazing. Yeah, I don't know, pay ourselves a salary.
I'll be going back into the business, and supporting what you're already doing, which is exciting, because the more you grow, hopefully the more revenue you have to reinvest exactly like that and do all of those things, make them a reality.
Yeah, and a salary would be great. So
yes, that's important. Wonderful. So just to wrap up, I'd love to ask if you guys have any kind of last words, and also how can people find you and check out what you're doing and stay in touch?
So yeah, Cambio Market. We're at cambio.market. We love receiving emails or following us on social media. And even if, you don't need to be a consumer, for us, as we were saying, 80% of our time is just marketing. So if, just spreading the word about what we're doing, it's always what's the most helpful for us. Definitely.
Yeah. It's been awesome talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was valuable information. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us anytime.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, you guys, for being on the show and taking this time out of your busy day. Hopefully it doesn't push your end time today too late into dinner. But yeah, and thanks everyone for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them, and we'll kind of keep an eye on that until next week when we meet again. And if you're not already in the loop on who, to get the notification about who we have on the show each week, you can go to theglobalsoccentlab.com/show and you can sign up there. And then every Tuesday, we'll give you guys the details about who we're having on the show and what we're going to be chatting about. So thanks, everyone. And special thanks to you guys, Jerome and Gelaine, for being here with us and for doing the great work that you do.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.